They made us laugh through the chaos of war in Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971. But behind the comedic brilliance lay real lives marked by triumphs and tragedies. What became of the stars, who once filled the screen with charm and wit? Did they find peace after fame, or did their stories end in sorrow? Who among them is still remembered today, and who has already left us forever? Bob Crane, forever remembered as the charismatic Colonel Robert E. Hogan in the classic sitcom Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971, was born on July 13, 1928. He stepped into the role at the age of 37, becoming the quick-witted leader of a group of Allied prisoners outsmarting their German captors. His performance made him a household name and cemented Hogan as one of television's most beloved characters. Before his rise to fame, Crane had been a successful radio personality, but acting was where he truly left his mark. Beyond Hogan's Heroes, he appeared in shows such as The Donna Reed Show, Love Boat, and even guest starred on Battle of the Network Stars, though none of these projects replicated the cultural phenomenon of his breakout role. Despite his charm and success on screen, Crane's personal life spiraled into darker territory. His marriage to his first wife, Ann Turchin, collapsed after years of infidelity, followed by a second marriage to actress Sigrid Valdis, which also struggled under the weight of scandal. Crane became infamous for his obsession with videotaping his sexual encounters, often involving strangers, which severely tarnished his reputation and overshadowed his career in later years. Attempts to revive his stardom largely failed, leaving him to work in dinner theater, a sharp decline from his television glory days. Financially, Crane never achieved lasting wealth. His net worth has been estimated at around $100,000 at the time of his death, far less than what one might expect of a primetime television star. His lifestyle and scandals drained much of his earnings, and he never built the kind of real estate or financial empire some of his contemporaries managed. Tragedy struck on June 29, 1978, when Crane was found bludgeoned to death in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment. He was only 49 years old. The murder remains one of Hollywood's most infamous unsolved cases, with suspicions circling around a close associate, but never resulting in a conviction. Instead of a dignified later life with family stability and recognition, Crane's story ended in brutal mystery. Today, his life is remembered as a mix of dazzling television success and haunting personal downfall. A man who captivated millions, yet could not escape the demons that ultimately destroyed him. Werner Klemperer immortalized on television as the bumbling yet oddly endearing Colonel Wilhelm Klink in Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971, was born on March 22, 1920 in Cologne, Germany. He was 45 years old when he began portraying the incompetent camp commandant who never quite managed to catch on to Hogan's schemes. Klemperer's performance blending comedy with satire earned him 2 Emmy Awards and made Colonel Klink one of the most recognizable figures in sitcom history. Before Hogan's Heroes, Klemperer had already built a steady acting career, appearing in films like Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961, Ship of Fools, 1965, and numerous stage productions. He was also deeply devoted to music, having studied violin and piano, and later became a celebrated narrator and performer with major symphonies across the United States. After the sitcom ended, he resisted being typecast by returning to theater, particularly in classical and operatic roles, showing his range far beyond the comic Colonel Klink. Yet despite his professional triumphs, Klemperer's private life was not without turmoil. His first marriage to Susan Miller ended in divorce, and his second marriage to Louise Troy also failed, leaving him twice divorced before finally finding stability with his third wife, actress Kim Hamilton. His career, while respected, never again reached the cultural phenomenon of Hogan's Heroes, and in later years, he faced declining health. Financially, Klemperer fared better than some of his castmates, with an estimated net worth of about $8 million at the time of his death, largely from his acting stage work and wise investments. He was not known for scandal, but carried the burden of surviving as a Jewish refugee from Nazi Germany, which gave his comedic portrayal of a German officer an ironic and poignant edge. Werner Klemperer passed away on December 6, 2000 in New York City at the age of 80 after suffering from cancer. He left behind 2 children from his earlier marriages. Unlike the tragic and violent end of Bob Crane, Klemperer's later years were marked by dignity, artistic fulfillment, and recognition for a career that bridged both comedy and high culture. His life remains a testament to resilience, from fleeing oppression to finding laughter and acclaim on American television screens. John Banner, best known for his unforgettable role as the lovable and perpetually oblivious Sergeant Hans Schultz in Hogan's Heroes 1965-1971, was born on January 28, 1910 in Vienna, Austria. He was 55 years old when he first stepped into the role of Schultz, the guard who famously declared, "I know nothing," a line that became one of television's most quoted catchphrases. Banner's portrayal turned Schultz into a symbol of comedic innocence amidst the absurdity of war, making him one of the most beloved characters in the series. Before Hogan's Heroes, Banner had already built a solid career in Hollywood, often cast as a German soldier due to his accent and background. He appeared in films such as Once Upon a Honeymoon, 1942, The Blue Dahlia, 1946, and 36 Hours, 1965. Ironically, Banner himself was a Jewish refugee who fled Nazi-occupied Austria in 1938, later serving in the U.S. Army Air Force during World War II. His transformation from refugee to playing a comic Nazi guard gave his career a paradoxical, bittersweet resonance. In his personal life, Banner faced struggles that mirrored the ups and downs of his career. He married twice, but both marriages remained childless, and he never built a lasting family legacy. Financially, while he enjoyed steady work as a character actor, his fortune never reached the heights of Hollywood stardom. At the time of his death, his net worth is estimated to have been around $1 million, enough for comfort, but far from immense wealth. After Hogan's Heroes, Banner found roles scarce, often being typecast due to his German accent. Though he continued to work in television, including guest appearances on The Lucy Show and The Partridge Family, his career waned in the 1970s. Behind the comedic persona, he carried the heavy reality of his past and the limited opportunities Hollywood offered him. If tragically John Banner died suddenly on his 63rd birthday, January 28, 1973 in Vienna from an abdominal hemorrhage. His death was a shock to fans who adored his warmth and humor. Despite personal setbacks, childless marriages, and a career narrowed by typecasting, Banner remains immortal as Schultz, a character who captured hearts by embodying kindness and humanity, even within the confines of a prisoner of war sitcom. Today he is remembered with fondness as the gentle soul who gave laughter to millions while carrying the scars of history. Robert Clary, forever etched in television history as Corporal Louis Lebeau, the witty French prisoner of war and master of cooking and escapism in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971, was born on March 1, 1926 in Paris, France. He was 39 years old when he took on the role that brought him international fame. With his sharp humor charm and distinct French flair, Lebeau became a fan favorite, and Clary's personal history lent a haunting depth to the role. Unlike his co-stars, Clary's life was marked by unimaginable tragedy before Hollywood. A Holocaust survivor, he was deported to Nazi concentration camps at just 16, where most of his family perished. Clary himself survived 31 months of brutality sustained by his ability to sing for guards and prisoners alike. His resilience and escape from genocide made his later career a symbol of triumph over despair. After Hogan's Heroes, Clary continued acting, appearing on soap operas such as Days of Our Lives and The Bold and the Beautiful. He also guest starred in series like Fantasy Island and The Love Boat. Yet while his professional life had steady successes, he carried the scars of his past, which often overshadowed his career. For decades, he rarely spoke about his Holocaust experiences, fearing it would define him. When he finally shared his story through lectures and memoirs, it revealed a man who endured unimaginable loss but found strength in art. Financially, Clary was more fortunate than some of his castmates. By the end of his career, his net worth was estimated at around $1.5 to $2 million, built from decades of television work royalties and public speaking engagements. He never amassed vast wealth, but he lived comfortably and with purpose. In his personal life, Clary married Natalie Cantor, daughter of entertainer Eddie Cantor, though the couple never had children. They shared a long marriage until her death in 1997. Clary, who never remarried, lived a quiet later life in Los Angeles, devoting himself to Holocaust education. Robert Clary passed away on November 16, 2022, at the age of 96, the last surviving principal cast member of Hogan's Heroes. His death marked the end of an era. Unlike the violent tragedy of Bob Crane or the sudden loss of John Banner, Clary's long life reflected resilience emerging from the ashes of one of history's darkest chapters to bring laughter to millions. He remains a testament to survival memory and the healing power of performance. Richard Dawson, remembered as the sharp-witted Corporal Peter Newkirk in Hogan's Heroes 1965-1971, brought a cheeky street-smart charm to the POW camp. Born on November 20th, 1932 in Gosport, England, Dawson was only 32 when he joined the cast, quickly becoming one of the show's breakout stars. His quick-tongued, mischievous smile and Cockney flair made Newkirk a fan favorite, a character who could outsmart guards and lighten even the darkest moments of the sitcom's wartime backdrop. Dawson's career stretched far beyond Hogan's Heroes. He became a television fixture, joining Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and later cementing his place in American pop culture as the original host of Family Feud, 1976 to 1985, 1994, 1995. Known as the Kissing Bandit for his on-air habit of greeting female contestants with kisses, he was both beloved and controversial, embodying the bold confidence of 1970s television. He also appeared in films such as The Running Man, 1987, where he played a chillingly effective villain opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger. But behind the charisma, Dawson's life had its share of turbulence. His first marriage to British actress Diana Dors unraveled amid infidelity and strain, leaving him a single father of 2 sons. His off-screen reputation mirrored his on-screen bravado, at times magnetic, at times polarizing. While his career soared with Family Feud, it also faded when his brash style felt out of step with changing times. Financially, Dawson fared far better than many of his Hogan's Heroes castmates. At the height of his fame, he earned millions from television hosting and royalties, leaving behind an estimated net worth of about $100,000. By the time of his death, a fortune that reflected both his talent and savvy career moves. In his later years, he found stability with his second wife, Gretchen Johnson, whom he married in 1991 after meeting her on Family Feud. Together, they had a daughter, Shannon, and Dawson embraced a quieter family life away from the spotlight. Richard Dawson died on June 2, 2012 in Los Angeles from complications of esophageal cancer at the age of 79. His legacy is twofold: the witty Newkirk, who stole scenes in Hogan's Heroes, and the bold, often unpredictable game show host, who left an indelible mark on American television. His life was as colorful as his career, full of highs, controversies, reinvention, and ultimately a lasting place in TV history. Larry Hovis, best known as the resourceful and quick-thinking Sergeant Andrew Carter in Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971, brought warmth, humor, and a boyish energy to the series. Born on February 20th, 1936 in Waupato, Washington, he was just 29 when he began playing Carter's the explosives expert, whose cheerful demeanor often masked the dangers of the POW camp. Hovis's lighthearted portrayal made Carter a fan favorite, offering comic relief while showcasing loyalty and ingenuity. Before his breakout role, Hovis had a background not only in acting, but also in music and comedy. He started as a singer, performing in clubs, and even releasing records before transitioning to television. Early appearances included Gomer Pyle, USMC, and The Andy Griffith Show. After Hogan's Heroes, he continued acting, but shifted increasingly to behind-the-scenes work, becoming a writer and producer for shows like Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and later serving as a creative consultant on various projects. Yet, his career never recaptured the lightning-in-a-bottle success of Hogan's Heroes. The typecasting that followed limited his acting opportunities, and his transition to production, while Steady lacked the same visibility. Personally, Hovis endured setbacks in marriage and relationships, often preferring to keep his private struggles out of the public eye. Financially, Hovis lived comfortably but modestly compared to some of his peers. At the time of his passing, his net worth was estimated at around $1 to $2 million, built from decades of steady, though unspectacular work in television. He never amassed vast real estate holdings or major business ventures, instead living a quieter life as his career shifted from spotlight to support roles. Tragedy struck when Larry Hovis was diagnosed with cancer, a battle he ultimately lost. He died on September 9, 2003 in San Marcos, Texas, at the age of 67. Unlike co-star Bob Crane's violent end, Hovis's passing was quieter, but no less poignant, marking the loss of a performer who had once brought so much joy to television audiences. His legacy rests in the innocence and humor he brought to Sergeant Carter, a character that remains beloved by fans, a reminder of Hovis's gentle spirit and comic timing. Ivan Dixon, remembered for his dignified and steadfast portrayal of Sergeant James Kinchlow in Hogan's Heroes, 1965 and 1970, brought intelligence and quiet strength to the role. Born on April 6, 1931 in Harlem, New York, he was 34 when he joined the series as Kinch the communications expert, who managed the underground radio and often acted as Hogan's right-hand man. Dixon's performance stood out for giving depth and seriousness to a show built on comedy, making him a groundbreaking African-American presence on primetime television at a time when representation was rare. Before Hogan's Heroes, Dixon was already respected as a dramatic actor. He appeared in A Raisin in the Sun, 1961, Nothing But a Man, 1964, a powerful film exploring racism and dignity, and guest starred on shows like The Twilight Zone and Perry Mason. After leaving Hogan's Heroes in 1970, he shifted focus to directing helming episodes of the Walton's Magnum P.I. and the Rockford Files, as well as TV movies that showcased his ability to tell nuanced stories about social issues. But Dixon's career was not without frustrations. While he carved out a respectable niche as a director, Hollywood offered him fewer opportunities than his talent deserved, a bitter reflection of racial barriers in the industry. Personally, he endured the strains of balancing career ambitions with family life, though he remained married to his wife Burley for over 5 decades, and they raised 4 children together. Financially, Dixon achieved moderate success. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at about $501 million earned from decades of acting and directing work. He never reached the financial heights of some of his co-stars, and though he lived comfortably, his legacy was more artistic than material, with little emphasis on real estate or wealth accumulation. In his later years, Dixon faced declining health. On March 16, 2008, he died from complications of kidney failure in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the age of 76. Unlike some of his castmates whose lives ended in scandal or sudden tragedy, Dixon's death was quieter, but underscored the loss of a trailblazer. He left behind a legacy of artistry, integrity, and courage, remembered both as Kinchlow, the calm presence of Hogan's Heroes, and as a director who broke boundaries for African-American voices in television. Leon Askin, forever etched in television memory as the blustery and authoritarian General Albert Burkhalter in Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971, was born on September 18, 1907 in Vienna, Austria. He was 58 when he first donned the uniform of the pompous general, who constantly barked orders at Colonel Klink, while never truly grasping Hogan's endless tricks. His booming voice, heavy frame, and comedic timing made General Burkhalter an unforgettable part of the show's humor, balancing menace with absurdity. Before his American fame, Askin's life was marked by tragedy. Born Leon Ashkenazi to a Jewish family, he fled Austria after the Nazi rise to power. His parents were later murdered in the Holocaust, a grief he carried for the rest of his life. Despite this, Askin rebuilt himself in the United States, becoming a versatile character actor. He appeared in films such as 1, 2, 3, 1961, The Longest Day, 1962, and Young Frankenstein, 1974, along with countless television guest spots showcasing his adaptability. Personally, Askin lived more privately than many of his co-stars. He never married and had no children, a choice or circumstance that left his later years without close family ties. Instead, he poured himself into his craft theater and teaching. His personal losses and the shadow of his wartime past gave his career a bittersweet edge, even as audiences laughed at his performances. Financially, Askin lived modestly. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was around $1 to $2 million primarily, from decades of steady film and television work. Unlike Hollywood stars, who invested in real estate or built empires, Askin's life reflected the steady resilience of a working actor, recognized, respected, but never fabulously wealthy. After a long life, Leon Askin died on June 3, 2005, in his native Vienna at the age of 97. He had returned to Austria later in life, where he was celebrated as a cultural figure, a survivor who transformed tragedy into art. His nearly century-long life carried both immense loss and remarkable endurance. Today he is remembered not only as the blustering General Burkhalter, but also as a man who endured history's darkest shadows and still managed to bring laughter to millions. Sigrid Valdis, remembered for her role as the elegant and flirtatious secretary Hilda in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971 brought charm and glamour to the otherwise grim setting of a German POW camp. Born Patricia Annette Olsen on September 21, 1935 in Bakersfield, California, she joined the series at 30 years old, quickly becoming a fan favorite with her mix of allure and comedic timing. Hilda, often caught between Colonel Klink's orders and Hogan's clever manipulations, added a playful spark to the show's ensemble. Before Hogan's Heroes, Valdis had small roles in television and film, appearing in shows like The Wild Wild West and Kraft Suspense Theater. But it was her role on Hogan's Heroes that defined her career and her personal life. On the set, she met Bob Crane, the show's star, and in 1970, they married in a widely publicized ceremony held on the series' soundstage. Their union, however, was far from idyllic. Crane's notorious womanizing and obsession with videotaping sexual encounters pulled their marriage into turmoil, leaving Valdis to grapple with scandal, betrayal, and public judgment. After Crane's shocking murder in 1978, Valdis retreated from the spotlight. She largely abandoned acting, focusing instead on raising their son, Scott. Though she made occasional appearances on television, her career never recovered, overshadowed by the infamy surrounding Crane's death. The tragedy forced her into a quieter life, marked more by survival than by the glamour of her Hollywood years. Financially, Valdis lived comfortably, but without great wealth. Her estimated net worth hovered around $1 to $2 million, largely from acting residuals and later business ventures. She did not accumulate extensive real estate holdings, instead choosing a more private existence away from Hollywood's chaos. In her later years, Valdis moved to Arizona and later to California, living close to her family. She died on October 14, 2007 in Anaheim, California from lung cancer at the age of 72. Unlike her co-stars who continued their public careers, Valdis's life became defined by both love and loss. The passion of her marriage to Bob Crane and the lingering shadow of his tragic end. She remains remembered not only as the glamorous Hilda of Hogan's Heroes, but also as a woman whose life marked by love, scandal and survival mirrored the drama of the Hollywood world she once inhabited. Howard Kane, forever remembered as the sly and calculating Major Wolfgang Hochstetter in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971 gave audiences one of the show's most memorable antagonists. Born on January 2, 1926 in Nashville, Tennessee, he was 39 when he first appeared as the sharp-tongued Gestapo officer whose suspicions of Hogan's activities were always dismissed by the gullible Colonel Klink. With his sharp features and commanding voice, Kane brought an edge of danger and comic frustration to the series, making Hochstetter a fan-favorite villain. Before Hogan's Heroes, Kane built a steady acting career, appearing in television hits such as Perry Mason, The Twilight Zone, Gunsmoke, and Get Smart. His versatility allowed him to play both menacing characters and light-hearted roles. Beyond acting, he was also a talented singer and master of dialects, able to perform in over 30 different accents, which made him one of the most adaptable character actors of his generation. Despite professional success, Kane's career was often limited by typecasting. Hollywood repeatedly cast him as the German, restricting opportunities that could have showcased his full range. This narrowing of roles combined with the overwhelming popularity of Hogan's Heroes meant he never broke through as a leading man. Personally, Kane kept his private life away from the spotlight, though he experienced the difficulties of a career that failed to match his abilities. Financially, his earnings provided stability, but not immense fortune. At the time of his passing, his estimated net worth was about $1 million, the result of years of steady television and theater work, rather than blockbuster success. He never amassed large real estate holdings or major wealth, but he lived comfortably from his craft. Howard Kane's life was cut short when he died, on December 28, 1993, in North Hollywood, California, from a heart attack at the age of 67. His passing marked the loss of a gifted actor whose talents extended far beyond the typecast roles he was offered. Today he is remembered not only as Major Hochstetter, the ever-frustrated foil to Hogan and his men, but also as a skilled performer whose career reflected both triumph and limitation, a man of great talent who gave television one of its most memorable villains. Kenneth Washington, best known for stepping into Hogan's Heroes during its final season as Sergeant Richard Baker, brought a fresh energy to the series in 1970. Born on October 19, 1946 in New York City, he was just 24 when he joined the show, making him the youngest of the principal cast members. His character Baker replaced Ivan Dixon's Kinchlow as the unit's communications expert, continuing the role of operating the secret radio and maintaining the POW's lifeline to the Allied forces. Though joining late, Washington's calm demeanor and natural charisma made him a welcome addition to the ensemble. Before Hogan's Heroes, Washington had already been working steadily as a young actor. He appeared in films such as The Thousand Plane Raid 1969 and guested on television series including Adam 12, Ironside, and Room 222. After Hogan's Heroes ended in 1971, he continued acting with credits on Sanford and Son, Police Story Kojak, and later a recurring role on Kolchak the Night Stalker. Though he never found a role as iconic as Baker Washington, maintained a steady television presence through the 1970s and 1980s. Yet his career eventually slowed, and he largely stepped away from Hollywood. Like many actors tied to a cult series, he faced typecasting and fewer opportunities as the industry shifted. Unlike some of his co-stars, whose private lives unraveled publicly, Washington avoided scandal, choosing instead a quieter existence away from fame. Financially, his estimated net worth stands around $1 to $2 million, largely from his acting career and later ventures outside Hollywood. Unlike others who sought luxury, Washington kept a low profile without widely publicized real estate holdings or high-profile business moves. As of today, Kenneth Washington is still alive in his late 70s, enjoying a more private life. He has rarely given interviews, but is fondly remembered by fans of the series as the young actor who carried the torch from Ivan Dixon and gave the final season of Hogan's Heroes its continuity. His legacy rests not in scandal or tragedy, but in being part of one of television's most unusual yet enduring sitcoms, proof that even a late addition can leave a lasting mark. Cynthia Lynn, remembered for her role as the charming and loyal Fräulein Helga in Hogan's Heroes in 1965-1966, brought a touch of intrigue and glamour to the series during its first season. Born Zinta Valda Ziemelis on April 2, 1937 in Riga, Latvia, she was 28 when she joined the show. As Colonel Klink's secretary before Sigrid Valdis's, Hilda replaced her, Lynn played the role with a mix of elegance and sly humor, often caught between obeying Klink's orders and unwittingly aiding Hogan's schemes. Before her Hollywood break, Lynn and her mother fled Soviet-occupied Latvia during World War II, eventually emigrating to the United States. She began her acting career in the late 1950s, with guest appearances on television shows such as Mission Impossible, The $6 Million Man, and Gunsmoke. Although Hogan's Heroes remained her signature role, she never quite broke into leading parts, and her career faded by the late 1970s. Her personal life was as complex as her career was brief. Lynn was romantically linked to Bob Crane during the production of Hogan's Heroes, a relationship clouded by Crane's notorious infidelities and scandals. She never found lasting happiness in marriage, and while she had a daughter, Lisa, much of her later life was marked by privacy rather than public triumph. Financially, Lynn lived modestly, her estimated net worth around $1 to $2 million at the time of her death, built from acting residuals and careful living, rather than major Hollywood wealth. Unlike stars who invested heavily in real estate or businesses, she chose a quieter existence after leaving the spotlight. Cynthia Lynn passed away on March 10, 2014 in Los Angeles from multiple organ failure at the age of 76. Her death closed the chapter on a career that had burned brightly, but briefly leaving behind memories of her elegance and presence in one of television's most unusual sitcoms. Though overshadowed by other cast members, Lynn's Fraulein Helga remains an enduring part of Hogan's Heroes, a role that gave her a place in television history and a legacy cherished by devoted fans. Dave Morrick, remembered for his recurring roles as German officers, including Captain Dingle and various SS guards in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971 brought depth and versatility to the show's portrayal of POW camp life. Born David Morrick on November 15, 1934 in Lakewood, Ohio, he was 31 when he first appeared on the series. Though not part of the main cast, his characters added comedic tension and a sense of authority that made the series' schemes feel all the more daring and entertaining. Before his work on Hogan's Heroes, Morrick built a steady career as a character actor, appearing in films such as Earthquake 1974 and Hearts of the West, 1975, and guest starring on numerous television series. In addition to acting, he worked behind the scenes as an assistant director and performed stunts showcasing his multifaceted talent and dedication to the entertainment industry. Despite these contributions, he never achieved household name status, and his career largely consisted of supporting and ensemble work rather than starring roles. Morrick's personal life remained private, with few publicized details about relationships or family. Professionally, he experienced the highs and lows common to character actors' steady work, but limited recognition and the challenge of being typecast in similar roles. Financially, he lived modestly with an estimated net worth of around $1 million at the time of his death, built from decades of television and film work, rather than major Hollywood fortune. Dave Morrick passed away on January 5, 1997 in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 62. His death marked the end of a quiet but dedicated career in entertainment. While not as widely celebrated as the principal cast of Hogan's Heroes, Morrick's performances remain an essential part of the series' charm, his characters contributing to the humor, tension, and enduring appeal of one of television's most unusual and beloved sitcoms. John Cedar, remembered for his recurring roles as various German officers and camp personnel in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971 brought a reliable presence and subtle humor to the series' depiction of POW camp life. Born John Cedars on May 16, 1931 in Chicago, Illinois, he was 34 when he first appeared on the show. Though often cast in supporting roles, Cedars' performances added credibility and comedic tension to the episodes, helping to enrich the ensemble cast's dynamic. Before Hogan's Heroes, Cedar built a steady career in television and film, appearing in shows such as Mission Impossible Mannix and The Rockford Files. He also appeared in films like A Patch of Blue, 1965, and The Parallax View, 1974. Beyond acting, Cedar was a skilled writer and director, contributing creatively to several projects behind the scenes. While his roles rarely made him a household name, his versatility as a character actor made him a valued presence in Hollywood for decades. Cedar's personal life remained relatively private, though he was known as a family-oriented individual. He married and had children, focusing much of his later life on family and personal endeavors rather than public attention or scandal. Financially, his net worth was estimated at around $1 to $2 million at the time of his death, earned through years of consistent work rather than blockbuster stardom. He did not accumulate significant real estate or public business ventures, instead enjoying a quiet, comfortable lifestyle. John Cedar passed away on August 21, 2011 in Los Angeles, California at the age of 80. Unlike some of his Hogan's Heroes co-stars, whose lives ended in tragedy or scandal, Cedar's life reflected steady professionalism, dedication, and balance. Today, he is remembered for his reliable character work and contributions to one of television's most enduring comedies, leaving a legacy as a talented actor whose performances quietly enhanced the humor and heart of Hogan's Heroes. Walter Janowitz, remembered for his recurring role as the clever and resourceful Oscar Schnitzer in Hogan's Heroes. 1965-1971 brought a subtle charm and quiet intelligence to the series. Born Johann Walter Janowitz on January 18, 1913, in Teplitz, Schönau, Austria-Hungary, now. Teplitz, Czech Republic, he was 52 when he first appeared on the show. His character Schnitzer was an elderly veterinarian and dog trainer who secretly aided the Allied POWs, often smuggling supplies and messages past the German guards. This role added depth to the comedic setting, showing that even within the seemingly rigid Stalag, 13 resistance and courage could flourish. Before Hogan's Heroes, Janowitz had built a solid career as a character actor in both television and film. He appeared in numerous popular shows of the 1960s and 1970s, including The Gallant Men, Combat Ben Casey, Why Am Spy the Monkeys, The Girl from UNCL East, The Odd Couple, and Barney Miller. His film credits included roles in 36 Hours, 1965, The Frisco Kid, 1979, and The Jazz Singer, 1980. Janowitz's versatility allowed him to portray authority figures, professionals, and supporting characters with credibility, making him a reliable presence in both comedic and dramatic productions. Despite his professional consistency, Janowitz faced challenges common to character actors. He never became a household name, and many of his roles were supporting or minor, which limited both his fame and financial opportunities. Personally, Janowitz kept a private life, avoiding public scandals. He never married publicly, and there is little recorded about children or close family, suggesting he prioritized his work and personal privacy over celebrity life. Financially, his estimated net worth at the time of his death was modest, around $1 million, reflecting decades of steady but not blockbuster earnings. Walter Janowitz passed away on May 27, 1997 in Corona, California, at the age of 84. Unlike some of his Hogan's Heroes co-stars, who faced tragic or sensationalized ends, Janowitz's life concluded quietly, a reflection of his steady professionalism and dedication. Today he is remembered as a talented character actor, whose performances, particularly as Oscar Schnitzer, added heart, intelligence, and authenticity to one of television's most beloved wartime comedies. His legacy endures in the clever, understated contributions that helped make Hogan's Heroes not just a comedy, but a show that celebrated courage, wit, and resilience under pressure. Which character from Hogan's Heroes, 1965-1971, holds a special place in your heart? How does it make you feel, knowing that the beloved cast members are no longer with us? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments below. If you've been enjoying this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching.